Hi everyone, before this video starts, I just wanted to say that in the description and at the end of the video will be a link to the family's GoFundMes of the 8 people that died. Please go donate if you have any extra money. Thank you. I was at Astroworld 2021. I want to preface this video by saying 2 things. One, that I wasn't planning on making a video, but it feels like there's a lot of misinformation out there about how everything went down, so I feel like it's important for someone to tell their perspective so this sort of stuff doesn't happen in the future. And if I can help stop that in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to do so. And 2, I want to first give a little bit of context on my perspective of everything that went down. I was at Astroworld Fest 2021 representing a college media affiliate, so I got in for free. I only knew I was going a few days before the event, but was pretty excited regardless because I either knew or was a fan of everyone performing, just not enough to spend, $350 a ticket, I think. Respect to everyone who did, though. That's not my point. I'm just saying that's my perspective. I'll just kind of start from my arrival at the event. I was going through the first lines of security and stuff around 1-ish when I saw this group of, I think it was 250 people, maybe 300 after everyone had gone through, but they sprinted past or down this road by Energy Stadium and sprinted through this fence. They just tore down this fence, and this fence was blocking people from entering the second wave of security checks. So they passed the first wave of security check, they tore down the fence, and then they sprinted across this bridge that goes over the road that goes beside Energy Stadium. I don't know which side, I'm not from Houston. And as I was walking over the bridge, I could kind of see down into the parking lot and see what was happening. I think I have a video of it, so I'm going to put it up here, but the crowd basically stampeded toward the VIP entrance and ran straight through. I mean, sure, a few people were stopped and caught, but it was 250 people versus 4 or 5 security guards. I mean, what were they going to do about it, you know? And so after all that happened and everyone pushed their way through or got caught, these police officers on horses showed up and blocked off all the entrances, so they had to check everyone's wristbands who were in line, and then the people that didn't have wristbands were kicked out, and the people who did were allowed to walk through. I assume wristbands are your ticket, essentially. I'm not 100% sure because I had to go off site to get my wristband and credentials and stuff, but I'm 90% sure that's how it worked. Anyway, I got through security and really nothing of interest happens a whole lot. I had a great time. Don Tolliver's set was wild. It was kind of rowdy, but I mean, it's a typical hip hop concert, I assume. I'd only been to a few concerts before this. I'd never been to a festival. I'd only been to medium venue concerts and local concerts for bands and stuff. So this was a whole new experience. But I mean, everything was dealt in a reasonable way. The security did what they could. I met up with a friend there, and he was talking about how he saw something similar. So I assume we can at least assume that from my perspective only, that about 500 people broke into Astroworld. And that's just what me and my friend saw, right? And so after Lil Baby's set, I went to go eat, and then I went and got a spot at Travis's set. So how it worked was there's a chills stage, which is a smaller stage, and then there was the thrills stage, which was the big mountain place that Travis had purposely made for himself. And the crowd gathered, and everyone pretty much missed SZA's set. And then Travis's set was pushed back till 9. I feel like that was the original time anyway, because that's when Apple Music was planning to start streaming the event. I stood there for about an hour and 30 minutes, and eventually, I stood there for about an hour, and then 30 minutes left, they put up a timer. And, that builds anticipation. People are getting excited. More people are coming in, pushing their way to the front, etc., etc. I didn't want to go to the front. Personally, I don't feel super comfortable, especially since I'd never been to a festival, being in the middle of everything. I'm a relatively tall dude. I'm over 6 feet tall. I'm pretty scrawny. I'm not someone that's going to be in the gym lifting weights every day. But I tell you all this for when I discuss the pushing and pulling at the beginning of Travis's set. So it's kind of hard to talk about, actually, because it's just so insane to me. So Travis comes out and everyone's so excited, but immediately, and I'm towards the back of the front area. I'm not in the front, but I am in front of the giant TVs that are in the middle. So I'm off to the right, kind of at the back of the front area, if that makes any sense. And then if you know what an undertow feels like when you're in the ocean, where you just don't have control of your body and you're just kind of at the will of the water, imagine that, but with a mass amount of people. And so you get a push from behind, And because you're pushed from behind, you have to push the person in front of you. And then the person in front of you pushes the person in front of them. And they're just it's kind of like dominoes. You're just falling on each other. And so eventually someone gets pissed and they push back, and then you go backwards, or you go left, or you go right. And so essentially what I assume happened is, during one of those waves where people were pushing forward, the people at the very front, who were already crowded, already basically had as much space as their 2 feet had on the concrete, those people were pushed forward into the barricades of the concert. So people are moshing, people are pushing, etc., and these people are getting shoved into the barricades at the front. I can't personally speak on how the VIP area was. I think the VIP area was a little like barricaded area off in the middle, directly in the middle. And if you were in that area, I assume a similar thing happened where the people in the front were pushed directly to the front. And so very early into the set, not super early, he plays a few songs. His first song is Escape Plan. He plays a couple more songs. I really don't remember them because I spent most of them being pushed around. And at the time, I thought this was just like how mosh pits worked at hip-hop concerts. I thought you would just get shoved around and it sucked. And I was like, well, this is not fun. Why would someone pay so much money to do this? Now, looking back, that's not normal. But I had never been to a festival like this or a concert like this, so I had no perspective. And so part of the way through the set, he stops it and there's someone passed out. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I've watched YouTube videos of Travis's concerts. I've seen the clips of him like stopping concerts and being like, help this guy, you know? So I assume Travis is like this good guy who has his fans' best interest in mind. That's not to say I don't think he does, but in this situation, I think he holds some form of responsibility, including everyone else. I think the blame goes on everyone. It's not just on one person. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So essentially he stops it for like 30 seconds and then he continues. And that's happening over and over again. He'll stop it and then he'll continue and he'll stop it and continue. This happened maybe 4 or 5 times during the set. So I'm making it sound like it happened like every 5 minutes. That's not the case. He stopped it 4 or 5 times throughout the set, I would say. And so eventually, I have a picture of this as well, so I'm going to put it up on screen. But eventually these ambulance things started swooping in. I assume this is the paramedics trying to get to people that were struggling. I had no idea at the time that these people were losing their lives, but that's so crazy to say. I assumed someone had snapped an ankle or someone had passed out because they had taken something, which I just assumed was the normality at a festival or concert. Which, I mean, having people pass out at your concerts, it happens. That's a relatively common thing just because festivals, you know, everything comes with that. You would have to go out of your way to get something, but it was there. You know what I'm saying? Halfway through his set, I'd say there was an ambulance stretcher thing. I don't really know what they are because I wasn't personally close enough to see them. I'd say the ambulance stretcher things were out there nonstop, making their way through, but they were having a really tough time weaving their way through the crowd because a lot of people were uncooperative or focused on the show. And I understand wanting to have a good time at the show, but there's a difference between having a good time at the show and being a nuisance to the people around you. The crowd that night was not very cooperative. My section, and I can only speak for my section, nothing really happened. I for the most part of the set, I was having a good time. The pushing and pulling stopped about a third of the way through, so everyone kind of relaxed. And I mean, I was having a pretty good time. The people around me were having a good time. There was no fights broke out. No one was pissed at each other. Every time people were walking past us, people were making pathways for them or pushing them on to help them get out. We just thought that those people were tired or too drunk or something like that they needed out, or they just couldn't stand being in the mosh pit, which is totally understandable. I had no idea that it was this pushing and pulling feeling had not disappeared at the front of the crowd. So when these paramedics tried to get through, it was impossible to get through, essentially. I say impossible, it was possible, but it took a long time for these people to get from the far right side towards the middle where these people needed help. And so I feel like if Travis had stopped the concert and pointed to this ambulance and be like, everyone fucking move, these people need to get to someone, that's a way better way to handle the situation. I know at the front, and you can see these videos, I'll probably edit them in, but you can see these security guards just ignoring these people, or the cameraman just telling them to get down. There was that boy that was trying to help, and there was that girl that got up on stage that tried to stop the concert. I had no idea these things were happening. These videos I saw the next day on social media, just like everyone else. You couldn't really tell from where I was that this sort of tragedy was happening. Towards the end, the pushing and pulling began again, and I was like, oh, I'm not having fun once more. The last song was Goosebumps, and that was when I felt it was pretty strong then. But essentially, I needed to talk about it because it's very important for people to understand multiple perspectives, and I don't see a whole lot of first accounts being posted except reactions to what had just happened after the night. So I feel like a general reflection is really important. But from a first account perspective, what do I think was the problem? Understaffing. 100,000 million %. Understaffing security, understaffing paramedics, just in general disorganization during that concert. When I was at the other sets, I never felt in danger. Don Tolliver's set was a lot of fun. People were watching, and no one got hurt. No one died, which is just insane to say. But I think general misorganization and understaffing was a huge problem at this festival. And I say that because I have never been to a festival before, and people on Twitter and people on Instagram are posting like, hey, ACL does this every year. How can you not prepare yourself? I can't criticize Astroworld from that perspective because I've never been to an ACL. I've never been to another very large festival. And hell, I wasn't even planning on going to Astroworld in the first place. I just happened to get free tickets through a college media affiliate representing them. So, and it's tough to say. You can't put blame on one specific part, but I feel like generally it's the people who put this together, the puppeteers, I guess you could say, the company. I'm not sure what the company's name is. Let me look it up. So Live Nation was the festival company that put this together. I don't know if they have a history of this sort of thing, but it's obvious that this was completely mismanaged and just overall a total disaster. And I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything, but there is not a single situation, there's not an excuse, there's not anything where someone should go and see their favorite artist, pay $350 fucking dollars. Hell, some people in the VIP section that passed away, they paid over $800. There is no single situation where someone should go see their favorite artist and not come back from that, or worry about not coming back from that. Because in paying the money to this festival and putting your money towards this festival, the $350 to buy your ticket, you're saying, I trust you with my money. I want to see this artist. I trust that I will be safe. Obviously, you have to look after yourself, especially when it comes to taking like drugs off the street or people coming up to you and selling stuff to you. But you have to understand that Travis's audience is not just 18-year-olds plus. It's the Fortnite endorsements. It's the McDonald's endorsements. Hell, I'm pretty sure one of the kids that died was 14. 14. He was a freshman in high school. Maybe. That's insane to me. This concert was obviously not safe for people that young, in my opinion. It should have been 18-year-olds plus, but they wanted to make money off that market, obviously. And you pay the price for that. These kids trust that this artist will keep them safe, essentially, because they look up to Travis Scott as this figure, A couple more thoughts as I was editing this. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this in, to be honest, because I've only just started, but I really can't listen to Travis Scott's music the same anymore, to be honest. And I also wanted to say that the people who are at fault are not the people who were trying to get people out. That's not what I'm saying. The whole crowd wasn't the problem. The problem was the fucking idiots who put themselves and their experience over the lives or the livelihood or the health of the people at the front and came from the left and right or the back and pushed their way all the way to the front in an entire stampede. I don't care what kind of influence Travis has on you as a person, you have to take a second and look back and be like, holy shit, like I'm being a horrible person. Your experience does not matter more than the people around you. That's ridiculous. But it's also on Travis Scott as well because he's breeded this kind of behavior. He said in multiple posts that he was trying to get more tickets, and in past situations he's told people to just completely ignore rules such as like security. There's a reason why these things are in place. It's to keep people safe. That's the whole idea. Like if people could just mosh and punch each other and push each other and nothing would happen from it, then the people would just do that and there'd be no problem. And also, not to mention, this is the most tickets Astroworld has ever sold. More than the first year, more than the second year, and this is the third year, right? They sold the most tickets, and then Travis said on top of that he was going to get more people in. And then he promotes a culture of people to break into his festivals. So to wrap up my thoughts and my perspective on everything, my friends that I met at the festival, obviously, I didn't really know anyone except one other person going, but the people I met and the friend I was with were totally okay. We got separated during the Travis Scott concert, but we assumed that was going to happen. That's just how it is. But it's unacceptable, is what I'm trying to say. General mismanagement, understaffing, general not giving a fuck, putting money first. That's exactly what Astroworld 2021 was. Regardless of the intentions that Travis Scott had, or many of the artists had, or people even involved that wanted people just to have a good time. And I genuinely wish I could be sitting here talking about how much fun I had on day 1 and 2, but obviously that's not the case. This is a tragedy. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise, and everyone is at fault. There's no one not to blame in this situation, except the people that were powerless, the security guards that tried to do their job, the paramedics that tried to do their job, the people in the crowd that tried to get the concert to stop. Those people are not at fault. Those people just suffered at the hands of other people generally mismanaging everything else. And it's really disappointing, and it's heartbreaking, to be honest. I'm not going to comment on anything else, the injections, anything else that I didn't firsthand experience or watch happen, whether I recognized it or not. So those are my thoughts. I felt like it was important to put them out there. Yeah, that's really all I got to say.